Hey everyone, welcome to the Skinny Truth podcast. This is a brand new endeavor and we are so excited. We are going to be talking all things obesity, bariatric surgery, life. I'm Laura Flusche and this is Dr. Josh Roller, who was my bariatric surgeon.
Hi everyone. We appreciate you joining us for this. Whole point of this podcast is to shine a different light on obesity, weight loss surgery, living with both of them, and helping y'all with your journeys throughout. There's lots of questions that don't necessarily get answered in a doctor's office, or you don't remember to answer in a doctor's office, and that's kind of the goal that Laura and I want to bring to this space. So I don't think there's anybody better to do it with than Laura Flusche. So
oh goodness,
here we go.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. So do we want to talk a little bit about ourselves, maybe some background about where we came from, how we ended up here?
Yeah, I think so. So let's start with you. You're kind of a world famous bariatric surgery patient. You lost 270 pounds, but I think people want to know, okay, where did you grow up? How did you get to where you are right now? Tell us that story.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. Had a great childhood growing up. I would say that I started struggling with my weight at a fairly young age, probably about 5th grade. I do have 2 younger siblings, and people always want to know, was anyone else in your family obese? And no, it was just me. So I struggled with that through high school, but never to an extreme. And then I went to college and then I got married. I went to college at the University of Central Missouri. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in nursing. Met my husband. He lived in Oklahoma. We met on Match.com. And so that brought, yeah. So I don't even know if that's still a thing anymore, but yeah. I don't know what the latest thing is for people to meet. But so anyways, brought me to Tulsa, worked for a few years, started having babies, and then my weight just started kind of putting it on. I didn't have time to put into myself, exercise. I was choosing bad food choices, and yeah, the weight just started creeping up.
Right,
I have 4 children. I have 3 boys and a little girl, and my daughter was born in 2020, 2 weeks before the whole pandemic happened, before the world shut down. And that was really, really hard. Being trapped in a house with 4 kids and a newborn, oh my gosh. It was tough. And my weight I put on 60 pounds in that 2020 year. And I knew I had to do something about it.
A lot of people did that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, the studies say that the average American put on 10 to 15 pounds during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it impacted everybody. When you can't get out of your house, it makes everything a little bit harder.
And then, so that was 2020, 2021. The end of 2021, I had a friend that actually went to roller weight loss, and she had shared a before and after picture. And I was just totally inspired. I was like, this has to be it for me. And I quickly made the call. And I'm not one to sit on things for very long. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I make my mind up and the rest is history.
So, I remember I was there for the surgery, but you lost 230 pounds with a modified duodenal switch. And then how did you go from bariatric surgery patient to this social media star? It's just one of the most incredible stories to see, and because you weren't famous before this, right?
I mean, I'm not famous, I don't think, but yeah, I didn't have a social media following at all before this. I wanted to share my journey with family and friends, but I didn't want to bombard my Facebook because I don't think people always want to see that. So I was like, I'm just going to create an Instagram page. I had no idea that there was a bariatric following on Instagram. And 3 days before my surgery, I put a post that said something along the lines of, you have to trust the magic of new beginnings or something. And I just started documenting my journey and the highs and the lows, and people related and people started following, and it's just kind of transpired into this huge platform.
Well, there is no doubt that in the world of bariatric surgery, I mean, I literally, I think 99% of the patients I've worked on would tell you there's a person. Like, what? How come you're doing this? Well, I saw this person, and
Absolutely.
this person inspired me to do this. And it's either that, or sometimes it's an event, like not being able to get on that roller coaster at Silver Dollar City or something like that. But it's always somebody that was such a inspiration. And so for you, I guess it was your friend. And before and after pictures they're hard to deny.
Right.
I mean, you can't fake
it's
those.
there. Yeah. And I mean, of course, heard of of course, I was a nurse. I had heard of bariatric surgery, but I was like, I would never do that. I would never do that. And then it just finally got to a point. I mean, I've tried every single thing under the sun and nothing worked. And so,
I mean, that's like, and this is what most people don't quite understand, is that when you get to 50 to 60 pounds or more overweight, the chances of losing that weight through any other method that's not surgery is less than 1%. And that is, it's the equivalent of going into the doctor's office with high blood pressure and then the doctor saying, I'm going to stick you on this medicine. And you go, well, all right, doc, how well does it work? Less than 1% of the time. And any normal person would go, I don't want that medicine.
Right. Yeah.
Like, give me something that works more. For some reason, bariatric surgery just isn't really brought up by our medical community to its patients. And I think that's why you see so many bariatric surgery patients that are so involved in social media and these other platforms, because they're not getting necessarily the information they need from the medical community. They're finding it from weight loss surgeons, weight loss surgery patients, other people that are in the same position. Most of our patients come because of somebody, just like you did.
Right. Yeah.
It's that. It's not, doctors sending them saying
From
you have to have
primary
this.
care doctors Yeah,
Yeah.
I get countless messages like, you inspired me to take the step or to go make the appointment. And it's just, and you're right. Like, that's how we're inspired by each other's journeys. When you see a real life person have success with something you've struggled with for so long, that just speaks volumes.
Well, you cannot deny, I mean, your before picture to your after, 270 pounds it's not something that can be faked. It's not photoshopped. It's very real. Some of the stuff I like best about your content is just how authentic it is. I'm being fairly new at all this. We've done marketing and stuff like that, but when you're the one doing, we got a little bit crazier during COVID, where we were doing all the different TikTok stuff with my wife and I. But that was as far out there as we got. But I'd freak out if I'm trying to record something and it's not perfect. And that's what I've noticed with you, is that you're just doing your normal life, losing weight, getting healthy, and here you are. But I mean, now you're up to 465,000 followers, and
it's crazy.
So you may not think you're famous, but you are in the bariatric surgery world, and it's quite an impressive.
Well, thank you.
Quite an impressive feat.
It all started with Dr. Roller. So, but do you want to tell us a little bit about like where you came from, like how you ended up where you're at?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Tulsa, actually. Well, I guess I was born in Oklahoma City, grew up in Tulsa.
Okay.
My dad is a family practice doctor. My mom was the office manager for his practice. So I got a brother and a sister, and basically every dinner conversation was always, kind of about the family business. So I was kind of, that's what I grew up on, and played all the sports and did that. I actually went to Baylor for a semester. I tried to walk on the golf team, and I was a frustrated jock. I wanted to keep going. And I figured out pretty quickly that on my good days, I was pretty good, but on my bad days, I was nowhere near where they were. So I decided to really focus on studies. I transferred back to OU. So, boomer sooner.
Go Pokes.
Went there. Yeah. We can. So this is gonna be interesting as we progress through this, the OU versus OSU phenomenon. But I ended up going to med school. I was a second year in med school, and I met my wife, Dr. Kristen Roller. She was a senior in college. My sister actually introduced us at the OU Texas game, and so
cool.
Yeah, kind of interesting. I decided at that point in my second year of med school that, listen, I want to do something really important. I'm not gonna date anymore. I'm gonna focus on my studies again. I'm just really gonna buckle down. Went and said I'm gonna get a dog. So I went and got a dog, and then I met my wife a week later, and so now I ended up with a wife and a dog
and a wife. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. And I will tell you, throughout my history, one thing that I do not say anymore is, I will never. That is what I learned. When I say I will never do this, that, or the other, it happens to me. So
right.
I don't say that anymore. I said I would never marry a doctor, and I'm married to a doctor.
Right.
I said I would probably have all girls, and I have all 3 daughters. So just you name it, and it's happening. So ended up going down to Dallas for general surgery at UT Southwestern, and that was did 5 years down there of that, and that was a up and down kind of experience. I mean, during that time, it was before the 80-hour work week that they instituted. That happened at the very end of my training, so I was probably doing 120 hours a week.
Oh my gosh.
We just didn't have that time. Fortunately, my wife was going through the same thing, so we'd end up, on call together a lot, having dinner at the children's hospital. Those were our dates, but she knew what I was going through, what I was trying to do. And then I had the opportunity in my 4th year to apply for a fellowship in weight loss surgery. I really didn't want to do weight loss surgery at that point in time. I was just wanting to do general surgery. I wanted to get some extra training. I knew bariatric surgery would provide me with that, and Duke was a phenomenal place. I mean, I remember we were actually on back at home in Tulsa for a couple of days, and as we were walking the dog at my parents' house, and told Kristen, I said, listen, I want to do this fellowship at Duke. She said, are you kidding? Another year? You've already done 5. You always school. We're in so much debt. I said, yeah, no, I really think we should do it. So we ended up doing it, going to Duke, and it was in my very first 3 weeks there that I came home after all day, and I told Kristen, I said, I'm changing my mind. I'm doing bariatric surgery now. And she's like, okay, great. What does that mean? It's like, well, this is, and what happened, I'll never forget the day. Went to clinic, and generally going to the office, doing clinic as a resident or a fellow is torture because there's tons of patients. Your attending surgeons are never there. They never help. You've got all this work, all these people to see, but literally every single patient I encountered that day was happy, and they were nice, and they wanted to tell you their story. And that was a new experience for me that it was in Dallas. I mean, that's just not how it went down.
For sure.
I was like, man, this is awesome. You mean I can operate on people and they're happy and they remember me and they want to come back and they want to see you? Because I think that's real important. You try to develop those connections with patients.
Right.
That, it gives you purpose on why you're doing these surgeries. So we were finishing that year up, and my entire plans for 5.5 years, my mentor is a guy named Dr. John Phillips. He was a surgeon in Tulsa for a long time. Really great individual, great surgeon. I was in college scrubbing in with him, closing incisions and you couldn't do that stuff now, but back then you could.
Yeah.
So he got me into loving surgery. And so I was going to go back and join him in Tulsa. And I just, kind of going to that, doctors are not good at business, we're not good at contracts. And so the hospital just was really not, because they're very wishy-washy, and I knew I wanted to start a bariatric program, and I wanted to be the best program in the country, and I wanted everybody to come to Arkansas or go to me
wherever you're going to be.
My practice. So yeah, that was my goal. I mean, I thought Duke had a great program. I thought there were ways that we could make it even better, but at a big, huge institution, it's impossible to change that culture as quickly as I wanted to. So we took a look here in Northwest Arkansas, hospital in Springdale, and that interview, we changed 5.5 years of planning in a 24-hour period. And so
Wow.
my parents were in Tulsa, Kristen's parents were in Tulsa. So I remember telling them, yeah, no, we're not going to Tulsa. And your first grandchild, she's going to be with us, and we're
Right. We're
moving
not
to
going to be
Arkansas.
close. Well, you're close, but yeah,
Yeah, close enough. But man, their heads were spinning, and
I bet.
they're like, you can't do that. You need to think about this. It's been 24 hours. Like, no, this is it. This is what we want to do. And I'll never forget when I was at Duke. They're like, well, okay, where are you going to end up? Because it's real important in the training environments that their people, the residents and the fellows, they go on to something prestigious, because they can say all of our people go XYZ, and they go
Right.
here, and I say I'm going back to either Arkansas or Oklahoma, and they're like, hold on,
What's
hold on.
there?
We did not
Right.
just. You need to think about this. You did not just waste an entire year of training to go back to Oklahoma, Arkansas. And I was like, all right, now
Right.
you made my choice for me. I know this is what I want to do. So we came back and we started to practice with Kristen and myself, an office manager, a nurse, and a receptionist. And
Wow.
that's how we got going. And just, I'm probably 9,000 or so surgeries into it now and 16 years later. But one of the interesting things is, like, listen, somebody had to be my first patient. And I tell people, when people are nervous all the time, I'm like, listen, don't be nervous. Just think about my very first patient. Think about how nervous that person was.
Right.
Because when they ask the question, how many have you done? You go, well, you're actually going to be my first here in
Right.
Arkansas.
They're like, oh gosh.
Yeah. And so, there's the 1st, the 5th, the 10th, and now it's not a big deal and I can answer those questions. But I'll never forget that first surgery I did in Springdale. I remember kind of taking a moment and looking around the room and going, I am literally the only person in this room that knows what's getting ready to happen. Nobody
Yeah.
has seen it before.
Yeah.
So, and that was, a great hospital support and great people around us. And, it's really gone from there. But that's how I got from went the tour of the Southeast, and it's been great.
Ended up in Arkansas.
I know. So I do joke around a lot because I am a big OU fan. And, at that time, OU was in the Big 12 and different conference. It's like, listen, at least we're both red and white, and we both hate Texas, so it doesn't matter. We're
Right.
I
Yeah.
can root for the Razorbacks. It'll be all right. But now OU is moving over to play Arkansas, so I hope I got enough
Have
credibility
you been
here that
cheering on Arkansas? Do you normally cheer Arkansas on?
I do, and I one of the other things I did a bunch of the first 8 or 9 years of the 16 is a lot of general surgery. And so for many, many years, I took care of all the Razorback athletes.
Okay.
If they ever, with hernias or appendicitis and gallbladders. So I was the general surgeon for their athletic program, do the coaches, and that was an interesting thing because you operate on, and they don't get usually just major issues, but gallbladders or appendicitis, But I remember one of the things that was so hard about it is those coaches, they're like, okay, how long are they out? And you're like, it's gonna be a week or two. Like, can we have them back tomorrow? I'm like, no, they just had surgery. You can't have them back tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I meet some really interesting student athletes. So it's a big school. I think there's 25 or 30,000 kids there, and
Wow.
From home, and they're having surgery, and their parents are trying to get in, and so I did a lot of the Razorback surgery. That's kind of where I became kind of a big fan at that point. Just getting to know people personally, and then watching them perform on TV was fun. And going to we don't do as much anymore. My littlest one, she's now in 6th grade, but she was a big gymnast type, and so we'd go watch the women ladybacks compete in their gymnastics meets. There's just
Yeah.
so much stuff going on here in Fayetteville. So we're very fortunate in Northwest Arkansas. I mean, it's a amazing area, lots of big companies, and these companies that they do so much for our area. It's it's been a great place. And that was the other reason why we moved. We like Dallas a lot, but we just didn't want to raise kids in that big of a city.
Yeah.
And Tulsa's a great place too. I mean, now I can't imagine a fourth kid.
Yeah.
We
Right.
stopped at 3, so
4 is crazy. Thank goodness we got a girl, because there would be no more. There would be no more after number 4.
well, that's what people ask us all the time. Well, are you going to try for a boy? And I said, yeah, we did 3 times, so we're
Right.
done.
We didn't get it, so that's it. Yep.
So that's been interesting for us. I mean, number one, I have a little sister. She had 2 older brothers, but I will tell you, I think she was really good at sports because she fought for her life for the first
Right.
over 14 years. I mean, brothers
Yeah.
and sisters. She will be a tough nugget for sure.
Yes.
And I've become a huge fan. I mean, saying, "Oh, I'm not going to have all girls. I'm going to have boys." So that's opened my eyes tremendously in the last 18 years. Like I watch women's sports all the time now. Like,
Right.
I am dialed into women's college basketball because my daughter is going to go play basketball in college next year, and so
Uh-huh.
huge fan. So that's having 3 daughters has been eye opening, especially surgeons. We're supposed to be the beat on your chest,
Yeah.
tough guys, and here I am, 3 daughters in a house decorated in pink everywhere.
Pink.
So yeah,
Yep. You never know.
it's my new favorite thing. So moving off of me back onto you, I guess, we'll talk about this down the road and some other topics, but just a brief overview. I mean, your husband just had surgery.
He did. Yeah.
Pretty
He just
wildly successful with it.
Yeah, he's done really well. He's 3 months post-op, had the modified duodenal switch with Dr. Roller, and he's down, well, he was 266 and he's 198 right now. So 68 pounds. And
That's
the
awesome.
best news is his diabetes is gone. Like it's just so exciting to me. That was like the whole thing that worried me so much about him was that diabetes, because long term it's just so bad.
Yeah, diabetes is the 6th leading cause of death in the country. And heart disease, strokes, and kidney failure, amputations, blindness. There's so many bad things, and a lot of people don't realize we have a 85 to 90% cure rate of diabetes. So at this point, your husband is on no medicines, and his hemoglobin A1C and his blood sugars are completely normal.
Yes.
And so I've always argued that's a cure.
Yeah.
He had it, now
It's amazing.
we're done. And
Yeah.
that's one of the main reasons that we do the surgeries. And so that's what we kind of hope to talk about. That'll be one of the topics, is diabetes and can it go away? And then you get into other, myths around weight loss surgery and what all those are. So we plan on tackling all of those as we go through this podcast series. And so I'm excited to be doing this with you.
I am too. I'm super excited. I think there's so much that people want to hear about it and learn, and I'm excited to share.
Well, and I'll just tell you from the surgeon's perspective, it's really interesting to actually say, okay, no, I'm learning a lot from my patients. I'm not teaching them, they're teaching
It's
teaching
like a
us.
two-way
And so
street. Yeah.
it is, and I think that's how medicine in general should be. It should be a two-way street, a conversation, a dialogue, and then you just go in and try to do the best that you can. So it's a amazingly fun job. It never. I say this all the time. Before and after pictures never get old. I'm one of the few types of doctors that it's okay not to recognize their patient a year later.
Yes, right.
Because when somebody lost 200 plus pounds, I mean, they look different. And
Right.
it's mind blowing every single time. Like that process, it never gets old. That's what I love about
Yeah.
this job is it's, now you don't get the instant gratification you do of taking out, a bad appendix, okay, their
Right.
pain's
Right.
gone. I have to wait
You
3
don't wake
months for
up
your
and
husband to,
be, yeah.
we don't wake up skinny.
Right.
You know, that's the whole, thing about what we want to try to explore is really the truth behind all of these different things that surround the weight loss surgery community and all the things that impact doctors and patients alike. So I think this is going to be a really fun thing. We hope you guys will, join and listen to us and send us some topics, and we're happy to discuss them. We plan on having some special guests down the road and really just talk about things that are meaningful to y'all and to us. So
Yeah, we're excited. Definitely let us know what you guys want to hear and what topics you want touched on.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we'll call this good for episode 1. This is the background, and so the rest of these will be focused on you, but it's probably important to know who we are and how we got here and why we do what we do.
All right. That sounds good. That's a wrap.